Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we are talking to Imminent Sonic Destruction. Check it out. Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands, and I am talking to Tony, Bryan, Pat, Scott, and Pete from Imminent Sonic Destruction. And joining us are fans, Pat, Dave, Tim, Deni, Partha, and Louise.
Lane.
Sorry.
My name is Lane. That's my wife's name. I don't know why the hell it says that.
All right.
See you, Lane.
Yeah. So thank you guys.
Pants in that family.
He's up in our street cred with the ladies.
Thank you guys so much for joining. It's fantastic to actually see you guys. It's been forever, I feel like, since I've actually seen most of you. I've seen some of your activities on social media and stuff, but it's great to see you all here. And so thanks again for being on the show. I kind of like to start things off with the fans to get their story, their origin story of how they became ensconced in the cult of ISD. So let's start with Lane.
Okay. When I first heard Raven, I was instantly fucking hooked. And it wasn't too long after that, I think, that I was awarded the selection of a set list in Atlanta. And these guys played in Atlanta. So I live in most of the year in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I drove down, and it was a head banging hell of a time. So it was awesome. I've been hooked ever since.
Wow. Fantastic. Do you remember, where was the show in Atlanta?
It was a kind of a grungy place. I can't remember the name of it. I think they shut it down. Masquerade. That's it. Yep.
Awesome.
And I've
Fantastic.
flown twice to Detroit to see these guys play too. So.
Oh, excellent.
Only twice?
Excellent.
I think it's only twice.
Oh, fantastic. So Pat, how about you, man? How would you get into ISD?
I think the first time I heard them, I do the house music for Prague Power, the metal festival down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Glenn usually sends me like the selections of what he wants on there, and I assemble everything and do voiceovers so that when you're listening to it, you know what the song is. Because I had been intending it from the very beginning, and I noticed that a lot of times the first couple of shows that I went to, some song would play and it would end, and then somebody would go, "Does anybody know who the hell that was?" So I talked to Glenn and made him an offer, and I started doing the house music, I think with Prague Power 3, and I've been doing it ever since, even though I haven't been.
It happens after our shows too, by the way. They say the same thing.
But I would do the voiceover at the end of the song so that people that like the song know who the band was, what the song was, what the album was, that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
one of the years, I can't remember when it was, but several years ago, there was an ISD song on there, and I really liked the song, and I do all the research on, kind of add some color commentary about the band and that sort of thing, find out, where they're from and that sort of thing, and realize that,
Right.
This band's from the Detroit area, and I'd never heard of them prior to that, and they're, all, Pat lives 2 miles from me, basically. So, I've pretty much been following them since then, and I've snuck a couple more of their songs onto the house music down at Prague Power. When they put a new album out, I've got one of the new songs on there, and I think the first time I actually got to see them live was when they opened for Leprous, and
Oh,
I had a couple of friends in common, and they hooked me up with the band, and I got in basically on a photo pass and shot them and shot Leprous. And good show.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great pictures too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Dave Taylor.
Where do you
Hello. Well, I've known Pat for
I don't know, 20 years or so. I'm a fellow drummer. Took lessons from Pat when I was 18, I think.
I was 19.
So the first time I heard ISD, it was actually called a different name.
Yeah.
Tony,
yeah,
okay with
yeah.
me saying it?
Yeah.
Mellotron.
Yeah, thanks.
And they were, yeah, you guys were doing a gig with Jabillion, who I used to play with, and a band I was currently playing with at the time, Coup de Trois, was supposed to also be on that show, but the venue wanted to shorten the time. So came out to support and really loved the music, and been listening ever since.
Fantastic.
Dave's being
Fantastic.
bashful. He actually he tried out for us too. He did.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, when there was a brief moment when Pat left and I auditioned.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
No, it was good. That was very good.
Although
Nice.
he'll back himself.
It was a lot of fun. I
No thanks to me, Dave is actually a fine
Yeah.
drummer.
Yeah. No, Dave, you were
I-
awesome, man. You were totally awesome.
I still keep breaking through in my
Awesome.
practice routine.
Oh, cool.
That's all.
Oddly enough, so do I.
That's a
Yeah,
fun
it is.
one.
Awesome. Let's go with Tim.
Is that me?
Yeah.
You, Tim?
Yeah, I went to high school with Pat.
All right.
That's all right.
This is going to seem really lopsided tonight, isn't it?
So I've sort of been following him forever,
Very cool.
and everything he's done has been amazing. And these group of guys and their chemistry, just fascinating. So I love the musicianship and everything. Every time I go to a show, I'm just amazed at how tight and how good everything is. So I love it. I've followed them since they started, and Pat and I have, known each other forever. So
Yeah, that's a great point, Tim. Their live shows, that is where the energy is. That's for me, when I first saw them live, I was like, holy shit, it's
Yep.
fucking awesome. So yeah. Partha or Parath, sorry.
You had it
I'm
right.
probably butchering your name. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, he's got the hat.
Yeah,
He's got the lid.
I've known these guys
He
since
doesn't
He's got the
have-
Mellotron beat.
previous century. But yeah, after Dave mentioned it, it's like I know exactly where that hat is.
That squirrel is killing me.
I know.
Well, it's killing you.
The funny thing is, I never got to see them play while they were Mellotron because I was out in Wisconsin at the time,
Oh man.
and they never came to visit.
Oh geez. Oh, and
There you go,
now,
Pat.
now Pat has the same Mellotron hat on, so excellent.
So I managed to go see them in a couple different states, and took one trip out to Toronto to go see them.
Very
Well, they're-
cool.
So
Fantastic.
enjoy their music.
He was in Chicago
Really
too,
company.
right?
Yeah, seen it a couple places.
Did you come down
Nice.
to the Dayton show at the end?
No, I didn't make Dayton. I went to the Chicago one when you were playing with Band Salvation.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
That would have been a good one to see.
How about Deni?
Deni.
Hey, so the way I discovered the band is from a friend I work with. He's a big music maniac also, like me. And I arrived to work one day and Recurring Theme has just been released for a couple of weeks. And I get in my office, the CD is right there on the table. And I went like, what is this? He said, it's a new band. I am so convinced that you're going to love him that I bought one for you also. You owe me $10. And he was right. He was right. I mean, as soon as I listened to the album, I went like, okay, it's good. But no, I loved it right away. But it was, he was convinced and he was totally right. So, and I had the chance to see the band twice. The guys came to Montreal. One with King Crow and Pain of Salvation. It was a
Oh,
great
nice.
show. And the second time was with Circus Maximus. So that too was a good show.
That was a good
Yeah,
place.
I was lucky. They came twice to Montreal. Yay!
We came twice to Montreal.
Montreal's probably
Love it. Love it
places to
there.
be.
Yeah, that's a good metal town, good music town.
It's a great town.
Yeah.
And those Mellotron hat, I actually
yeah.
purchased the last one. The last time the
yeah.
guys were in Montreal, I actually bought the last one. So,
Oh,
I
man.
won't go and get it. It's way upstairs.
I'm wearing it for you, Deni. It's cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Dave.
Just crossed paths with Pat for years on the Detroit scene and East Side, well, the Rusty Nail, and
Oh yeah.
got to know Brian a little better through a few years of DO benefits that we do every year. And
Oh, that's right.
yeah, and then ISD is one of the cream of the crop with what I've seen in Pat's career, and love the band. So
Yeah. Fantastic.
yeah.
So I have a question for you guys, and I know that 2020 has been super hard, but I keep seeing these updates about the third album, and so I need to hear about the third album. Like, when is this thing going to be out, and what kind of a magnum opus is it going to be?
Well, we don't. It's basically done. We're finalizing the mix here, like soon. And we've kind of been toying with the idea of, should we wait until we can play live again to release it? And it's, we talk about it when we get together and we jam, and that seems to be the consensus, is that we're going to wait till we can play live again to release it. But then again, I don't know if we want to wait that long. It's still kind of up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's been a variety of bands that have done, either approach. They've gone ahead in the middle of the pandemic, put out music, and it's kind of kept their name out there and done what it's done. But yeah, it's really hard to get traction without some shows and that kind of stuff. So I can see where that would go that way. So what's the musical direction? I mean, as you're obviously you're sticking with some of the formulas, but do you feel like you're branching out? Do you feel like you're doing something different, or I don't know? Give me some kind of feel for what you're.
I'm gonna let someone else take the lead on that question.
Yeah, well, I think for this being our first polka album,
Polka Prod,
you're gonna be very pleasantly surprised.
Roll out the barrel in 7/8 is no small feat. Let me tell you.
I do want to say I think we all feel this way. This is going to be our best album yet, for sure. And every album we do, we kind of have there's a standalone, standout kind of epic song, and the one that's going to be in this album, I think I've told Lane before, is going to make Arborist Calm or Raven sound like they were sing-along campfire songs. This is going to take our normal brand of brutality up a few hundred notches. So anyway, I won't babble on much, but I'm very excited about this album. I'm sure, and I know we all are, but I think this album expands our range. It goes heavier and softer than we've ever done in the past.
Very true. Yeah.
Cool.
I think this album, and I've told a lot of people this after listening to a lot of the tracks and a lot of the the progress tracks that we get, that I think vocally this album it absolutely buries everything we've done up until now. And this band is so capable of really really bringing vocals and we've done well. I mean, up till now we've really layered them in there and really, but this album is just, I mean, it's insane how amazing these vocal parts are coming. I think that the one thing that I think people are going to be really remarkable about as far as the harmonies and the depth and the just I can't tell you how great it is. And usually I'm pretty pretty happy with, with all of our recordings with vocal, the way that the vocals come through. But I think the band is finally really starting to figure out what it's capable of and really starting to lay it out there. And if we can, God willing, we can actually do this live, people are going to be just absolutely floored. And we're not one of those bands that just says, screw it, I don't care. We're going to make it sound as great as it can in the studio. Damned the live show. We always try to make sure that everything that we record that we can reproduce. And I'm sure that we can. I mean, the rehearsals have been amazing, but I think the vocals are the big standout of this album. The music is great, but the vocals are unbelievable.
Awesome. That when you were talking about that, Pat, that was going to be a question, is like, do you guys write your music in such a way that you can perform it live? Because I know there's bands that just go crazy. They put all kinds of stuff in there because, you can. In the studio, you can do whatever you want and you can make it perfect. But then when you have to and then they won't play some of those songs live because it's impossible to get the same level of perfection.
Right. They're the Beatles.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Oh, man.
We did before on Triumphia, where Tony made sure that the themes or the key riffs of the songs kind of bookended the album. And you can hear the beginning of the album at the end. And it was so cool once we finished things up that he had that in mind. I think this album, he absolutely intended for this album to be a flow of, what the beginning was, what the ending becomes, and it's all tied together very carefully with the way he wrote some of these songs and arranged them. And a lot of this time around was the concept that we have all this recording studio experience and time, and layering the sound became a very important part of this new album. Primarily vocals, because now we can all concentrate and make sure that they sound the way we intended them to. But then as well with keyboard players and more guitar riffage that is down in there, and you can hear it the fourth or fifth time through on the album that you don't pay attention to it before, and then now it stands out all of a sudden. And Dave is pouring a drink, and he's not.
I think
just totally blowing your flow.
I think I've been tipping my bottle too many times. Dave just said screw it.
I was listening.
Yeah,
I
that's a
was
great sound
listening
track.
intently.
Dave, I'll take a Long Island, please. I'll take a Long Island.
Right back.
Percent sign drink.
So now I'm going to have to leave that in there. I was already thinking I'm going to edit Dave out, but
Who's this Kevin guy?
Dave, our priorities, drinking.
right, exactly.
Anybody see there's another guy down there, Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin, can you hear us?
I'm gonna guess that's Kevin Roble.
Oh, he jumped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm on like double.
Okay, so I'll introduce Kevin. He's the singer of the death metal band that we were in together called Drag Beneath, and he also
cool.
does a little guest spot on ISD's next album. So he's cool.
Very, very nice. Very nice. And Drag Beneath was some good stuff.
Yeah,
man.
thanks.
So, yeah, fantastic. So I don't want to monopolize all the questions, but I can if you guys want me to. So does any fans have questions for Imminent Sonic Destruction?
I didn't know there was going to be a test.
Yeah, there will be. And please be sure to write down the answer, the correct answer.
Yeah, right.
The problem is it's a pregnancy
Show your
test,
work.
so.
I thought it was a blood test. No, I didn't prep for
Anybody-
that either.
Anybody got questions? If not, I'll
Ask
roll.
away, Chuck.
Swamp Ricketts live.
All right, so I'll keep going. So I'm curious about, like, when we're talking about song construction and that process of building, building your music. Do you guys, are you more old school where you kind of get together jam room, somebody comes up with an idea, you riff on that and build? Or is it more people have, somebody in the band, Tony, Bryan comes in, got a pretty well structured song, and then you go from that and everyone adds their parts? What's the songwriting process?
It's usually
We send a check out to Barry Manilow and he gives it back to us.
no.
I was looking at Greg's list for the primary composer.
Yeah.
And I
No, I would never ever call myself. I'm not that guy, but no, I do write the majority of the songs. I give the guys like the base of the song. It'll be like 80% of the song, and then Pat will come up with an idea to change a part, or Bryan will fart in a microphone. Or Scott wrote lyrics on one song. I actually said, well, here's what I was going to title it. Here's kind of what I was thinking. And without telling me, he just went for it, and it was awesome. So he kind of surprised me there. And honestly, Pete, he kind of comes in and really helps me a lot with the lyrics and the vocal melodies a ton. He's like our lead vocal guy. So if you like vocal melodies and stuff, most of the time you got to be thinking Pete for that.
Thinking Pete?
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of like the process. I bring the meat and potato to the table, and the guys bring the rest. They bring the drinks and you know what I mean? So
we bring the silverware.
Yeah. and then more drinks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Is there a concept to this album or no?
There is not a solid concept. It's more of just kind of a theme. Each song,
They're recurring themes.
Well, each song has its own subject.
You already did that.
But if you listen to the whole thing beginning to end, you'll feel like you're listening to one piece.
I would say it's kind of like it's different. It's different than the last one as far as it's not a full concept piece, but it is kind of like it's kind of like a timeline of, I don't know if that's a way to say it. It's not like there's characters or a story really, but there's just kind of a progression through the whole thing that you can pick up on if you're paying attention. We don't want to tell anybody exactly what you're listening to, but you can kind of pick up on it if you get into it, which we all like to do. We're all into that kind of music where we really want to just soak things up and try to get all the details. And so we try to write things that we would enjoy, and hopefully the people that like us would be the same way. So
yeah. So
is there a pandemic song on there?
No. All these songs.
I mean, I know people need to be reminded because they're going to forget. Because it doesn't get drilled into your head every 5 seconds of every day. So,
Right.
We figured we want to pile onto that because there's just a lot of money in that.
Yeah.
We're rolling in cash because of that
All
song.
about Benjamin.
Yeah.
So Pete, that had brought up another question for me, like for you guys as artists, and we can go around the horn too. As far as music, because there are artists that write a song, are purposely not direct about what their vision is. They want the listener to develop a vision of what they interpret the song to be. And then there's other people that listen to music that really want to have I want to know what you were thinking as the artist. What were you thinking when you wrote this? What was your direction? So there's kind of these two schools of thought. I tend to be that person that I want to know where your headspace was. I can invent my own shit all day. I really want to understand where you came from and what motivated you for this music. So I'm kind of curious what you guys feel individually, as far as, do you like the story written out for you and you can follow it? Or do you want to have the music given to you and you explore it and make your own story? So Pete, let's start with you.
Do you want a specific song?
Thanks, Pete.
No, you could go with yeah, it may be a specific song. But yeah, I mean, just in general, do you like to have the music?
Do we like it as listeners? That's
yeah, as listeners, yes.
Yeah. I mean, don't usually get the chance to ask the artists that I like what they were thinking. So, I mean,
Right.
I guess my experience has always been I just pay enough attention to it. And if it's an in-depth enough song, it's cool that, you could listen to it for years and then you hear something a different way, or you pick up on a lyric and you realize, oh God, this could mean this. And
Yeah.
I like that. I like when there's different interpretations of things. I get what you're saying, because I think it would be cool to be able to ask some people, what were you thinking when you did this?
Yeah.
Especially bands I don't like. What the hell are you thinking?
What the hell was that?
Why would you do that to me? No. Yeah, I mean, I can see why that would be intriguing to want to know what they were thinking about it particularly. I'm sure that would be on like maybe certain songs here and there I would really want to know. But
Yeah.
overall, I like, I think about like old Rush albums or something, and I just want to just soak it all up. And you can use, I mean, of course, that's like the best lyricist that I can think of. So
Right.
if you don't know what's going on there, then you're probably just not paying attention.
Yeah. Mr. Pert was pretty good about like laying out the story for you, so you knew what was going on.
But he was also really good about putting multiple meanings into things.
That's true. Very true.
Which I like.
Yep.
I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I enjoy that there's there could be depth in the music, or depth in just like one part, like look at all the things the guitar is doing or whatever. But when you can also get into the lyrics, or a lot of harmonies, it's like the more places I can add interest, the more into it I am.
Awesome. Scott, what about you?
Well, I think in terms of playing in ISD, and if I'm understanding your question correctly,
You're not.
yeah, and Chuck, you have to understand that I am constantly in fear and at risk of being fired from this band.
So I like to call the fluid member of the band.
Yeah. So my HR file is something else. But I don't know. So I'll take a stab at answering this, but I think I have a certain role in the band musically, and it's very it's in contrast to what I normally do. Like in music, otherwise I'm a more mellow singer songwriter guy, and so being in this band has put me like in this role where I play the second guitar, and I might play some things on the pedals, and then I sing backup, and I love like where I'm at. I love the format we write in. Tony brings in the songs, and then we all kind of like put our stamp on it. And it might sound restricted to other musicians. Well, like, oh, you just go in and you do this part, but for me, it feels like I interject a lot of what I can do. It puts my musicianship to the test. So it's fulfilling to play this music, and then there are these parts of I have favorite parts of a lot of our songs where we play them as a band and I get the goosebumps, and I think that's the thing, that's if you can do anything in life that kind of still gives you that thrill. And I could list off parts of songs, the pre-chorus to Driving Home, the big bridge in Lake of Fire, these things that we play live that are just, you get to that point in the show and you're like, and I mean, at least me, I'm just like, wow, like, yeah, like that's what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing here,
That's awesome.
and I would not want to be anywhere else but like right here, right now, playing this song. And we sound so damn good right now. And so much, I mean, there's just so much of our music has those moments for me as a musician. So, I don't know if that qualifies as an answer, but
it's a great
answer.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Pat, how about you?
What Pete said.
Easy way out.
Awesome.
Pete's always had a much better way with with describing things. That's why we make Pete our blog master, because he's just he's incredible. It's funny. I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. On a side note, really quickly, it's like I wish everyone could read our band texts.
Oh God.
Seriously, we get banned from several countries and probably get knocked out of, I mean, but this band, the reason that this band is still together is because of the chemistry together, and it has a lot to do. I mean, the fact that we, the way that Tony brings the songs to the table, the way that he allows us to really put our fingerprints all over everything. He, you know, he's got the idea for the song. He brings it. We each are completely allowed to, you know, to do whatever we want to do with it. And that's the thing that I like about, you know, when we're putting stuff together and thematically or not, for instance, and, you know, with recurring themes, you know, Triumphia, the way that those were two, you know, one was just a batch of songs. It was really just recurring themes seemed like, all right, we got this great band, we got all these great ideas. Let's just slap together a bunch of songs and show everybody what we can do. And then Triumphia was this, you know, all right, well, we're a prog band, so we need the prog, you know, the quintessential prog album where everything's glued together by, and an amazing story, a wonderful story. It's one of the few times that I really, and I concentrate more on the music. I'm more of a music arrangement type guy. I like to try to keep things exciting, and especially for the prog listeners, I like to try to keep things difficult and interesting. You know, I keep us on our toes. Everybody has a role in the band, and that's mine to you know, just to make sure everything has a good solid rhythmic flow. And then when it needs to sound like we're falling down the stairs, that's where I come in. But I on this album, I'm paying way more attention to the lyrics, because that's what they're hitting me like no other thing that we've done so far. You know, and I'm not really a lyric guy. Anybody who, I'm sorry for all the lyricists out there. I'm more about the music, the meat and potatoes of the music. I love jazz. I listen to jazz fusion. Not a lot of vocalists in the jazz fusion field.
Right.
So I love the music, but this album is so front loaded with amazing vocal performances. That's what I think. Again, I mentioned it earlier. I think that that's what's going to be the big thing that people are going to take away from this recording. I think that the growth of this band, and I'm thrilled that we're still together, because there's still growth. I don't think we plateaued in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that's been really difficult was this year of not really being able to perform and keep our live shows growing as well. You know, it's gonna be like playing all over it, you know, for the first time all over again when we get back out on stage, which makes it even more fun, because a lot of bands don't get an opportunity to do that. So that was my long-winded and you know, uncontrollable answer.
It was awesome. So Brian,
Hey, James.
Well, when it comes to lyrics, I don't know. I've got favorite bands where I need to know what the heck the lyrics are talking about, and I got bands where I don't want to know about what the lyrics actually mean, because the mystique of not knowing that complex kind of lyrics where you don't want to decipher them because they're cooler that way. A band like Haken came out with the album Visions, and it's a story, and I had to study it and get the lyrics off the internet, and the couple of times I've met the band, I had to ask them, what the heck is this part? What does that mean? Because it's amazing, but it's a concept album with a story. What is it talking about in it? But then you got a band like Opeth, where the mysterious nature of the lyrics are so powerful and so good without interpreting them, without trying to dissect them. I don't want to know what the lyrics actually mean, because it would probably be less cool. Like, you know, like
Probably like the latest album when it was all in Swedish.
Oh,
one of the biggest mistakes I ever did was try to figure out what were the lyrics from the Misfits, and I read them. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't want to take that off.
Whoops.
oh
But
man.
there were a couple of songs in this band where I had to ask Tony, exactly what are these lyrics about? Because I love the mystique of how he phrases things and how he describes things and the emotions he's putting in there. And then there's a couple of songs where I had to know what the hell is this all about. It's
Ow.
through the glass window frame here that nobody can see.
Symbolism that I'm enjoying right now is really.
So Tony, how about you? I'm gonna guess.
As far
your
as
chemistry.
like when I'm listening to music, I never know what I don't care to know what the lyrics are about. It's more like an overall feel. There are some bands that I listen to, similar to Brian's answer, where there's some bands I listen to where I want to know what their motivation was. And there's certain artists where you listen to them and you can kind of figure it out, or they'll outright say it in an interview or in a blog or some shit. But like Devin Townsend, for example, he writes very everything's personal. Everything he writes is personal for the most part. And so that's kind of cool. I kind of want to know what his motivations are. But then you listen to something like, I don't know, Meshuggah. I have no idea what the fuck they're singing about. But like their riffs, and I just want to just, punch some drywall, you know what I'm saying? I just want to go nuts. So that's kind of more where I'm at when I'm listening to something. It's kind of one or the other. Does it make me feel like going nuts, or do I need to know? And it kind of depends on the artist that I'm listening to. So I don't know. But I think about like Pain of Salvation or Neil Morse or Porcupine Tree, Steven Wilson. These are people that like they are the lead songwriters of their bands, and so then I'm more interested in knowing what their motivation is, especially someone like Steven Wilson. But again, you listen to Meshuggah or you listen to I don't know, Gojira. Well, they're clearly about saving the planet, which is fine, but I don't know what most of their lyrics are about. I just know that they, are heavy and make people throw stuff around, or maybe even like immolation or something. I'm sure it's evil. That's fine. I want to listen to death metal, and that's kind of like how I operate as far as a listener.
Yeah. Or Carcass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Shut up.
Recapitulation.
Wow.
Yes.
Don't ask me to spell it.
Yeah.
That's going to be on the test.
So anybody have questions for the band? Anybody?
James?
No? Oh, Dave?
Well, I don't, but I just wanted to say hi to all you guys.
There he is.
What's up, James?
Hi, James.
How you doing, James?
Yeah, all you guys. But yeah, I just wanted to say, hey, I love all you guys. I actually got to jump off. It was cool seeing all you guys. Woo! I can't wait to hear the new release.
All right. Awesome to see you, James.
All right, I'm leaving. I'll see you guys soon.
Good to see you, James.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yep.
Catch you guys later.
Good to see you. So something I like to ask that I kind of rope in the fans is to find out like your origin stories as far as what albums you got into and what was like the first album that you bought with your own cash. So Pat, what was your first album?
Wow. My brother and I, he's like not even a full year older than me. So when we got into music through my mother, because my mother was the music fan of the house, and we first started like we were buying 45s and for the uninitiated, that's a very small vinyl record. It operates at a different revolutions per minute, and that's why they call anyway. So but when we had we got some money, and we were able to go, and we went to Peaches Records and Tapes.
Oh wow!
Grossbeck in I believe it was Fraser. We went there and we took our hard-earned money through, and I ended up buying Aerosmith's first album,
Oh, cool. That's a good album.
I kind of got into them through some cousins, and my brother was getting into like it was between Kiss and Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. And but I dug Aerosmith at the time. I thought that shit was really, really cool. And that, song
Yeah.
Dream On, I had the single, but I wanted the whole record. And that was the first vinyl 12-inch album that I ever bought was that. That's kind of, and then I immediately got into Kiss and completely screwed my world up.
Yeah.
Every single thing they ever did. And my brother got into Led Zeppelin, so thank God we got into Led Zeppelin because he was almost a bass player. I got into Kiss and I started wanting to be Gene Simmons like everybody else did.
Yeah.
And my father bought me a drum set out of the blue, so I ended up getting back into drums. And then my brother got into Rush. There you go. End of story.
Yeah, there does seem to be a progression there because I did the same thing almost. I didn't listen to Aerosmith first, but got huge into Kiss, and then somebody came in, I think it was 9th grade, and they said, "You ever listen to Rush?" And I'm like, "What the fuck's Rush?" And so they gave me 2112, and I'm like, "Fuck!" And so that's all I listened to, just like fucking Rush. You know? So I listened to fucking Kiss forever, and then whoa, let's switch gears and go to Rush. But and they couldn't be two more divergent bands.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was my thing. That was it.
Yeah. Awesome. Tony, how about you?
The first 2 albums that I bought with my own money was Nirvana's Nevermind and Green Day's Dookie.
All right. Yes.
But before those, I was listening to a lot of whatever my parents were listening to, as most of us probably did, and that was like my mom would play a lot of Bob Seger, Steve Miller, and like Jim Croce. But yeah, Nirvana and Green Day were the first that I bought with my own money.
Awesome. Brian, how about you?
It's hard to remember because when my brother and I were getting into music, I wish you could hear how bad that burp smelled.
I'm still digging on Partha's horn section here.
My brother and I were buying, listening to music and finding stuff, and I'm not sure exactly what the first 2 albums were because I know my brother got a copy of Metallica's Black Album, but I went and got Injustice for All, and then I think after that I got Blizzard of Oz.
Oh, nice.
I think those were the 2 first albums I remember specifically purchasing and then studying the lyrics and studying the sheets. And
yeah. Those are 2 solid albums right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Blizzard of Oz. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So a lot of me playing bass with Pat is definitely Bob Daisley, and the whole concept of every time the kick drum hits, a bass note better be right there with it for that solid hit. And that's
When a bass note hits, a bass player gets his wings. That's how we look at it.
and Scott rips them off of me because that's Scott.
What I do.
Yeah. So Scott, how about you? What was
Segue.
Well, I followed the same trajectory as Pat with I was a Kiss fan because when I was a kid, so I was always getting Kiss albums, and then for my 13th birthday, I got Signals and Moving Pictures, and that changed my life. But I think at the time I had a paper route, and the 2 albums I bought with my own money for the first time were Journey's Escape,
nice,
and Diary of a Madman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And music, gosh, that whole period of time, it was just a flood of just amazing stuff being released. So it was a good time to be 13.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a good time to be 13?
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
I bought my first carton of cigarettes at 13. So
That's,
those were the days.
that's right. Our parents insisted.
Smoke up,
then.
Johnny.
Smoke up, Johnny.
Pete, how about you?
I I never bought an album with my own money.
Napster all the way.
Columbia House.
I did enter Columbia House Record and Tape Club when I was a kid. So I got a whole bunch of them. I got a whole
Tell
bunch
us
of them for
the
a
10
penny.
CDs you bought for a cent.
Yeah, I got a ton of tapes for a penny. I don't know if I could. I mean, I grew up listening to, like Tony was saying, I listened to a lot of my parents had a lot of Beatles albums, so I'd listen to those when I was a kid. But
Nice.
and then once I got into the Columbia Record and Tape Club, I just would grab everything, and then I'd forget to tell them I didn't want something, and they'd send me some piece of shit
Yeah.
tape that I didn't want.
To get into that club, isn't it?
Dude, I had that work out for me a couple of times where they sent that album that you didn't ask for, and it was actually good. And dude,
Yeah.
one of them
Oh
was
yeah.
Bruce Dickinson's Chemical Wedding.
You're right.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I had no idea, dude. I wasn't
What's
even an
up with
Iron
what?
Maiden fan yet. I had no idea.
Wow.
I
Wow.
like his solo stuff more than some of the Iron Maiden stuff.
Wow. That is great.
Pat,
I had,
Crazy.
I know, I saw that.
I had a weird introduction to Iron Maiden because I was like,
did you catch that?
Pat,
Does Pat show up over Pete?
yeah.
He's in my beat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really, I love it.
Do you not catch him hanging out with Brian and Tony?
you don't want to know what I'm doing back there.
Upside down. Oh boy. See, I'm
Oh.
woefully behind here. This drum set isn't actually here. This is green screen.
Yeah.
So,
I actually didn't know about Iron Maiden until I was in college, and I was at the computer lab wasting time between classes. And this guy said, "Hey man, can you come over here for a second?" I'm like, "What's up?" And he was a really, really tall, skinny black dude, and he had headphones, CD player, stack of CDs, and a red bass guitar. And he's like, "Hey, I gotta go and see my counselor for changing classes. Can you watch my stuff for a few minutes?" I'm like, "Okay, sure. What are you listening to?" And I look at the stack. I'm like, "Iron Maiden." He goes, "Yeah, dude, I love them." I'm like, "I haven't ever really stopped to listen to them." "Well, here's the headphones. Go ahead." And so I listened to Number of the Beast. And Invaders is still to this day the bass riff I play first every time I pick up a bass. If it's at the music store, if it's practice on stage, I still have to play Invaders. That riff got me.
Awesome. That was actually very first album that I bought was actually Black Sabbath Sabotage. But my buddy was with me and he bought Iron Maiden Killers.
Yep.
So, and we both, yeah.
that was the first album I ever heard of Iron Maiden was Killers.
Nice.
My friend came across the street. She was stationed in Germany. She came over. The new wave of British metal had just been getting going, and she gave us a cassette, and it had Iron Maiden's Killers on one side and the Tigers of Pantang
Oh,
on the
yeah.
other side. And I had never heard any of that shit before. And me and
Yeah.
my brother put it on our radio, and it was just, or we had he had all the money in the stereo gear, so we put it in his cassette player, and boom,
Yeah.
like Iron Maiden. What?
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? And she's like, oh, it's all the rage over there. Oh man, you guys are gonna love all this stuff coming up. I'm like, that stuff's never gonna catch.
Oh, man.
45 years later.
Now,
Yeah.
Thomas, I am not.
So, Dave,
Somewhere in Time was one of my first ever album purchases.
what was that?
It was a 50-cent bin at PJ Records in Ann Arbor.
Oh, yeah. PJs.
And I grabbed it completely based on the artwork.
Yes. Well, that is a driver sometimes because and it can lead you astray because I actually thought that Bat Out of Hell was going to be really heavy.
The only thing heavy was the singer.
Ouch.
Thank you.
That reminds me though that when these guys talk about how they like Kiss, Pat, that I never liked them. I always thought when I was a kid, I was like, wow, these guys must be awesome. They must sound great because look at how crazy this is. And then I heard some songs and I was like, it's just a rock band, and I wasn't thrilled. But I didn't think they lived up to the artwork.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about Ghost?
Oh, God. I'm not going to comment on Ghost. Because I know some people love Ghost, and I'm like,
Their one
I don't
album
get it.
was really sweet.
Yeah.
Meloria or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a
no,
great.
That was good.
I've listened to it a few times. I'm like, no, it's not for me. But not everything's for me, so that's fine. Dave Taylor, what was your first album?
Oh, geez. I've been thinking about this the whole time. I grew up.
Better be good, man.
I grew up in a very musical family. So I didn't have to buy a lot of albums. But I think the first thing I ever went and sought out was a 45 of Bill Withers' Lean On Me.
Oh, nice.
Just because I heard it in a movie and wanted to learn how to play the piano part. So my mom took me up to Harmony House and picked that up. But I mean, I grew up listening to Beatles, Rush, Journey, so I mean, after that, it was pretty much Rush after that all the time.
Yeah.
And that was actually how I ended up taking lessons with Pat, because of our connection with Rush.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, that
Very
was
nice.
yeah. I don't.
Great.
Yeah, I also did the Columbia House thing. I think I kept denying them until they every month until they went out of business.
Oh man. Tim, how about you?
Yeah, well, first ones I was exposed to was like Steve Miller, Fly Like an Eagle, from my brother. But I'm with Pete, where it was Journey, Escape, and then some Queen, Live Killers.
Oh yeah, that's a great album.
And REO Speedwagon, so more of the mellow stuff.
Yeah,
until I got Moving Pictures and my life was changed.
Yeah, that damn Rush band.
Yeah.
Pat Griffin, how about you?
I honestly can't remember the first one that I bought with my own money. I think it was probably kind of the same thing with Tony. I got into, I think it was probably BMG Music Club.
Yeah.
And got, the 10 CDs for a penny thing. And I don't remember what all was in there. But as far as like my current taste in music, I remember my best friend from grade school growing up, he had heard Pull Me Under by Dream Theater on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
And he went out and bought the album because he really liked the song. And then it turned out that what he had heard was the radio edit of the song, which was condensed and didn't have all the wild instrumental and stuff. It was kind of more of a straightforward song.
Yep.
So he listened to the version that was on the album and didn't like it as much as what he'd heard on the radio, and didn't like the other stuff that was on there because it was too wacky for him. And he basically threw the CD to me and said, check this out, maybe you'll like it. And I ended up loving it. And that was kind of the beginning of that whole thing for me. It took me down a road of Dream Theater and Queensryche and Fate's Warning and
ISD.
Whole bands. Yeah, eventually. Probably, like, one of the regrets that I do have is the first time that I saw Dream Theater live. I hadn't really been to too many concerts at that point, and when I saw them live, I wanted to see them. That's what I was there for. So
yeah,
the whole time that the opening acts are on, I'm like paying no attention. I'm just like, bring Dream Theater out. That's what I'm here for. And it was years after that I discovered Fate's Warning, and found out that Fate's Warning had opened for the Dream Theater show that I had gone to. And I didn't pay any attention to them, didn't know who they were, didn't really give their set any credit or anything like that.
Oh man, damn it!
But yeah,
that's why you always get to the show early.
Progressive metal is probably, the majority of what I listen to these days.
Very nice, very nice. Deni.
In my case, I have a brother that's older than me. So he bought a stereo system in '76. Yes, I'm that old. He bought it in '76, listened to music with him for a while, Led Zeppelin and all that, Deep Purple. I bought my first album around probably '81. It was Pink Floyd, The Wall. So talk about an easy album to start with. And my second one would be Journey Escape.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's a couple of people that talk about Journey Escape. That was my second album a few years after.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Journey was my gap. So between Kiss and Rush, Journey squeezed in there. And I might have listened to maybe a little bit of Judas Priest, and then Rush happened, and Rush took over until I got into Maiden, and then Maiden got me into like Angel Witch, and then it went downhill from there because I started getting progressively heavier and crazier. So anyway, Lane, sorry.
I'm probably older than all you guys put together. My first album that I bought was the Santana Tiger album with Evil Ways and Jingo and Soul Sacrifice. And I still love that crying guitar and the rhythms and everything. But a couple years later, I got into a friend's car. It was a 1968 Ford Fairlane, 8-track player. He shoves in this 8-track, and I hear this song, Maybe I'm a Leo, on the Machine Head Deep Purple album, and it changed my life for forever, seriously. And that song is a great song, but it's probably, fourth or fifth or sixth best song on that album. And
I agree.
And so I just love Deep Purple. I got into Black Sabbath, Uriah Heep, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Rush. And then I kind of lost music in the 80s. And then I kind of had another discovery, and it was Dream Theater. And that got me into the whole progressive metal thing. And probably without those guys, I wouldn't have run across ISD. So that's kind of my little journey.
Awesome. That's great.
And theater is the gateway drug for a lot of people.
Rush or Dream Theater.
Yeah. Dave.
Well, Dream Theater had great taste in opening bands, eh, Pat?
I mean, what are you gonna do, right?
Galactic Cowboys, man, they were awesome.
Yeah, Fate's Warning.
Not forget
Our
those,
people. How about that Big Wreck band?
Yeah.
No, but well, when I was little, it was Kiss Alive, which my mom bought for me. So, but with my own music, it could be Led Zeppelin 2 and Diary of a Madman.
Nice.
So,
Awesome. Yeah, classics. And Kevin, how about you, man?
I'm younger than everybody, so mine was the 8 Mile soundtrack, and it's
All
prime.
right.
And
Excellent.
then American Idiot
Nice.
after that, when that came out, because what is it, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, that would come on every day at 4 on my local radio station while I was playing RuneScape in middle school. So that's how you show my age. And my girlfriend's here talking about it, and she's saying that she bought the Gladiator soundtrack first with her money. So we're
Holy
both
cow.
soundtrack people, I guess.
Nice.
Wow.
That's
Dude, I
awesome.
still love orchestral soundtracks for like God, what Lord of the Rings, of course. I've got that.
Oh yeah. Enya, my girl, still, because Lord of the Rings was 5th grade, so Enya's with me for life.
Yeah, like the Code of the Conqueror. My brother found that. He loved that. And then I found an old copy of Conan the Barbarian.
I have that.
Yes. I was gonna say Conan. That soundtrack. Oh my
And
God.
By Crown.
That's not the full movie. That's not the full soundtrack. It's only a 45-minute disc, and the movie's an hour and a half worth of music for a 2-hour movie, and it's never been published. If anybody
seriously?
of it, shit, send it to me.
I'll check my cassette.
Awesome.
Lane will find the 8-track.
Yeah.
It's definitely an awkward gap that the 8-tracks always have.
We should release this new album on 8-track and see.
Oh,
We're bringing it back.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Just cause. I mean, yeah.
People's got their 6-disc changer in their car stereo system and MP3 adapters. Now rip that shit out. I'm going old, real 8-track, baby. 2022 Dodge Caravan with an 8.
Lord.
I got a record player in my car.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been a great talk with you. I've got one more question for everybody.
All right.
It's super controversial, so please don't be offended. Pineapple or no pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple.
So
That's a
Dave
big
Taylor,
yes.
Dave Taylor, what do you say?
No, absolutely not.
Partha.
Why not mix it up? Sweet and savory.
All right, sweet and savory. There we go. Pete.
I've never tried pineapple on pizza, but I guess that would be no then.
Deni.
I don't think I'd like it. So.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And I'm not. I don't know if it's true, but supposedly it's a Canadian guy that came up with that. I'm kind of a bit of a shame here, but anyways, I had nothing to do with it. It's no. Some people like it. Good for them. No, me personally, I just can't.
Tim, I think I saw a thumbs down from you.
Thumbs down. I only live in it under the sea. I no pineapple for me.
No pineapple. Kevin, did you say yes or no?
Big yes for me. Brooke is a big no, though, so it's kind of neutral from our end.
It's a house divided. Oh no.
It is a house divided, so I don't get much pineapple on my pizza.
No
in this
pineapple
household.
for you.
Oh man. Pat Griffin.
Yes for me. It kind of depends on what it's with, but like one of the pizzas we get a lot will be chicken, pineapple, and jalapenos.
Oh, see, there you
That's
know,
an interesting.
this is what I'm finding. Jalapenos and pineapple. That's what people go with.
Yep.
I'd try it.
Crazy. Pat.
Absolutely.
The other Pat.
Absolutely. I actually eat nearly anything on a pizza. Crystal meth. Really. It's just a gentle sprinkle. But no, pineapple totally works for me, for sure.
Used to be friends, Pat.
Yeah. Hey, absolutely.
Lane.
I'll eat it, but I don't prefer pineapple.
Dave.
Absolutely not. And I will cast James Trunko's vote for no either.
And Tony.
Yes.
Yes, really.
Quick short story. We brought Pain of Salvation to town in Detroit. I was the promoter. I took the band out to eat. We went to Buddy's Pizza. Daniel Gildelow ordered himself a pineapple, jalapeno, and bacon pizza. And if you are anti-pineapple on your pizza, try that first. Otherwise, you're wrong. Let's go.
I would try that. That actually sounds good. I would try that.
It was an idea.
It was awesome.
Now I'm gonna get pizza later.
Brian.
Who do we all?
Brian, how about you?
I once got a Hawaiian style pizza. So it was pineapple, ham, bacon, and barbecue sauce instead of marinara sauce. And so it was like that sweet and sour kind of pizza. That's the best way to have it with pineapple. It was delicious.
That's what we get from Jets. It's amazing.
Nice. And Scott, how about you?
Well, if you know me well enough, you know that there's no other possible way I'm going to get my vitamin C. So.
Oh man,
The best answer of the night.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Well, guys, thanks again for being on Fans with Bands. It's great to see you guys. Can't wait to see you in the real world.
Yes.
Can't wait for the new music.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having
I,
us.
This is awesome.
Sorry, I know we're closing it, but I just thought of a question, if I may.
Yeah,
So
go
the
for
new
it.
album, any possibilities it's going to be released on vinyl?
We are looking into it. Obviously, we really want to do it.
Okay.
We're independent right now. We're not with a label, so
Okay.
we're gonna try. I don't know. We're gonna see what we can do. Obviously, right now, vinyl is important, and we want to make it happen. We literally cut out songs. This is early in the process. But we cut out songs to try to get this thing down to like a 45-minute long thing so that it would fit on vinyl, like the proper the proper size of vinyl. I don't know. I'm not a vinyl guy, but we did that on purpose so that if we could, we would. So
These were all songs that I wrote, by the way. I'm just
and I'm just saying the first two albums, also the way they're done, it can be cut as a double LP. I'm just saying.
All right.
But it fits perfectly. So
all right. Trust me, like
I will say that.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been pushing for it too. I know we've talked about it, and I think it would be awesome to do. And we do have really cool artwork.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That would be great for vinyl, and the artwork for this new album is really cool. I like
But
it.
even the first two.
On the clothing print. It's that cool of an artwork.
It's by the same artist that did Triumphia, he's the guy that does Opeth's albums.
Cool.
Okay. But even the first album, the cover is very nice. Sometimes I wear my T-shirt when I go at concert, and a lot of people stop me and say, "Hey, your T-shirt is awesome." I say, "Well, look at the band also. They're from Detroit. Go listen to them." So that too would be very nice on vinyl. But I know it's difficult. It's a lot of money.
I think there needs to. Yeah, well, I think I was gonna say there needs to be like a GoFundMe or Patreon thing or something so we can get the funding, because I know that is expensive. But
yeah.
Just throw it out there.
Hey,
We've never tried that.
If you look
that's a possibility.
just throwing it out there for you guys, but Third Man's actually very reasonably priced.
And,
Yeah, Third Man down in Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
A band I was with, we were the first band that got a pressing out of there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
There
very
you go.
reasonably priced.
There you go.
I'd love to do it.
Yeah,
I'd
that'd
love to
be
get it
freaking
done.
awesome.
cool.
So if you're compiling statistics to see if you would sell any, I'm buying the first two and the new one.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's funny.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm your first buyer.
And based on this, you're 15% of our fans. So, cost benefit. That's
There you go.
That's right.
We only
Very
produce
lucrative.
one copy on
I don't know.
vinyl.
3/4 of my kids are into us too, so that's like 53 people.
Fun.
Oh man.
One thing that I wanted to throw out
Great to
there, are
see
you
you
guys
guys.
familiar with the Cameo website?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
You
Oh,
can go on
yeah.
there and pay to have like a celebrity send you a message or something. It's not too late for you guys to have Gilbert Godfrey narrate your band as a on the album.
Oh, God, could he do the subtitles for our album?
a relief to hear.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh my
If
god.
we ever needed a fallback, that was it.
There you go. Well, thanks again, everybody, for being part of Fans with Bands. Again, can't wait to see you guys, and have a great evening. And thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
I just want to say
Thank you, guys.
Good night, all.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
See ya.
Thank you, everyone.
Good seeing
Yeah.
everybody. Hope to see you guys out in the real world soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Except for the guys in the band.
Thanks again to Tony, Bryan, Pete, Scott, and Pat of Imminent Sonic Destruction, as well as fans Tim, Lane, Pat, Deni, Partha, Dave, and James for joining me on this episode of Fans with Bands. Be on the lookout for the new ISD coming soon. In the meantime, you can pick up their killer earlier releases on their website. Maybe even shoot them a few bucks so that we can get the new release on vinyl. Yes! See the show notes for all the details and links. These are tough times for everyone in the creative industries such as music. Your support of live streaming, purchasing music, and merchandise is critical. If you can help out your local artists, please do. If you are in the Michigan area, consider following the Playing in the Detroit Area Tonight Facebook page. It is a place for fans and bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show and leaving a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jams.